tonight as far as things that are different. We have Regents Week coming up next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And there are very few kids actually taking RCTs or Regents. There's probably about 7, 8 kids because we're not on a semestering basis anymore. So these are kids that actually didn't pass in June, so have been receiving academic intervention services, and now they'll try again. And if they can pass the RCT or they pass the Regents, we can drop the AIS. And if not, they'll have another opportunity at the end of the year with even more, extra help. The 27th, we have a half day of school, and we're doing a positive relationships building day. We're going to use the first hour for class planning because the week after that is homecoming / spirit week. And one of the problems they thought last year was that there wasn't really time to plan, so we thought if we used an hour on Friday, that'll give them the weekend to gather things and come up with ideas. And then Spirit Week and Homecoming would be the next week, with the JV girls and boys playing on Thursday and the varsity girls and boys playing on Friday night, and then Homecoming dance that night. The Booster Club is looking into the alumni game idea on a Saturday afternoon. It depends how it fits into what else is going on for that day. But that was kind of popular last year. And the student government's been planning their activities and have a pretty good handle on it this year because last year was the first time, so now they kind of know what they're doing. So that's coming up. We've had tryouts for a musical. We wanted to do Grease, but we didn't have enough boys, so we looked back and saw what do we have. So we've switched to Cinderella, which is a musical, and we have right now about 20 to 24 6th graders that are on board, and probably about 15 to 18 high school 7 through 12 kids on board, and I still need a male king, and I think Chris, you'd fit the part. Other than that, I mean, things are going well. I think that discipline-wise, we've had less kids on detentions this year. We've had less kids in in-school suspension. People have commented it's much calmer for the kids. There's not, I hate to say things, but knock on wood, we haven't had any fights this year, where last year we had probably 5 by this point. So the kids, that's true. The last time I said something positive, the next day I got whammed on it, didn't I? But so far, I have to say, I think that our year is going fairly well from a staff standpoint, and from the student standpoint, I believe. A lot of changes in basketball games because of weather and this and that, and that's just something I guess we have to live with. So.
What do you attribute that to? Anything specific, or just different group of kids, or some of the programming you've done?
I think sometimes it takes a year for them to understand what the parameters are, what the boundaries are, and I think that the kids are responding to the boundaries. I complimented the senior class, and then I had to shut down the lounge the next day. But they have come, they accepted it. They didn't whine. They didn't cause any. They weren't upset by it. They understood. They had been throwing garbage, or they had been throwing silverware in the garbage, and they had abused the privilege. And so we shut it down a week before vacation, and now we've started right back up, and I see kids walking over, dumping their garbage, and they're getting plastic silverware, or they're doing the things they need to do. And I think part of it is because of the continuity or the consistency that they know where I'm coming from, and that I follow through. And I think that most kids, if they know what the boundaries are, play within them. And that's what we kind of operate by.
You tested the first year and glide by it the second year sort of thing?
Somewhat. We didn't really have any major changes between last year and this year, other than they know me and I know them. And I think sometimes we just are able to kind of have a chat and put things in order without having to go to consequences, because they do trust me to a certain extent. And the girl drama has died down. There have been some kids that have moved out of the district, and it just seems to be everybody's getting along pretty well right now. And if I have a fight tomorrow, I'm going to take myself.
I'm taking a personal day tomorrow. Right now, we're in the middle of the comprehensive education plan. I had 4 teachers on the first phase of the committee today. We met all day going through data, coming up with answers to various questions that the state has posed. Tomorrow, the second phase of the committee meets from 10 to 2. We have about 4 or 5 pages of state documents that we need to fill out. It should be a fairly smooth process. Again, talking with Mr. Burns before tonight's meeting, we are quite a bit ahead of the curve in terms of where we stand in this whole process compared to other districts around here. This one's a little bit different. We don't have the same level of support from BOCES or from other agencies because it's pretty new to most people. So again, we're kind of muddling through it, but it's coming out very well. And really what we're finding throughout all of this is data. Looking at student assessment data, whether it's state assessment or local assessments, and how we're incorporating that. We're already starting to do that more and more at the elementary schools. We're just talking now about ways how to formalize it and really put it on our schedule. So it's actually been, although it's time consuming, it's been a good process. And there will be 8 different teachers, staff members involved. So we're really reaching out, making sure that everybody's part of the process and knows exactly what's going on and where we're going here in the future with this plan. So, and we have board members tomorrow as well as 1, hopefully 2 parents. And the only other thing I forgot is we had to cancel our CPS presentation last week. Several Paul comes in and presents to students, and because of our snow day, so we're in the process right now of renegotiating what day is best between now and the 1st of March. So that presentation will be back on schedule for the students. And that's all that I have at this point.
To start, I have, we turned around the sign up and click on fine. What the superintendents did as a group was wrote a letter to the St. Lawrence County legislators, basically a resolution for support of the North Country schools, because we felt they weren't all in the same place. I'm not going to read it to you. Basically, it's very clear what it states that, you know, New York ranks 46 out of the 50 public school funding sources. We're looking to get some of the millions of dollars that have been taken away, the different changes, and I think we've started to see some of this. I know that at the legislators' breakfast, it's going to be really important as a group when we write some questions that we focus on the differences for our rural schools. One of the things that we, continue to do, and I do, is more fight the equity across within our own county, not pointing fingers below here. What some of the other superintendents have done is gone down and met with Albany and pointed down there. I think we need to just take what we get as the 18 up here and work together instead of trying to condemn or condone what other people are doing. But again, right now for us, we've been very fortunate it's paid off well. But we need our legislators fighting for us, and that has not been the case for all of our legislators this year, which is why we all supported the letter going to them. So, as far as we had the dismissal of the petition that went to state ed that was sent by Stacia. The petition wasn't done properly or filed or in a timely fashion. And as of today, that was resubmitted, at least as far as it was resubmitted to my office from Stacia to have it resubmitted to state ed. And in it, we request the removal of myself, Michelle Varian, Teresa Hogle, and Missy Hale as board members. So that was resubmitted today. I have sent it to for legal services, and we'll go from there.
We get a copy of that?
It's the same 358-page packet plus 14 pages that I have not run off yet. But if anybody wants them, please let me know who wants them, because I'm not going to run them for those who don't want them. I know it's still sitting there in the office where we put it. But if anybody wants the 14, or I can actually download them and email them. It's cheaper.
And you only have to do it once.
Right.
It'd be a lot cheaper if you were to do it.
Yeah.
$300 pieces of paper per board member.
Right. And that's all I have for open.
Were we going to talk about the telephone bill?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, I put that aside. TDS and I obviously have been back and forth on year, the spread of the phone bills for the last 6 months. What TDS did in separating accounts out was they had emailed our bill in the month of November without advance notice. The bill came, and she didn't think that was the only bill coming because it was the one section of the bill, so she didn't pay it right away, waiting for the bill to come in the mail. When the second bill came in the mail in December, which was about a 20-day window, I want to say, she then notified Carol. They paid both at once, sent it in, and we are now set up to pay electronically, which we never have. In TDS, and what they acknowledged is in canceling one of our accounts out, because we had a business account and a residential account, but they were both listed as residential accounts. What they ended up doing was crediting the $2,900 to a home account. The home account is technically our subline account for the school, but that averages maybe $28 to $30 a month. So they credited $29.30 to it. So when they shut us down, basically they said that the 2 months hadn't been paid. They did agree in here that the phone number that they called to let us know that was the number that they called was not a working number, which I said to them, could you call that number? And she said, no, we did call that number. I said, no, call it. It's a non-working number. And it very clearly says, this is a non-working number. Please try, hang up and try again. So, and she admits that in here. What they've done is basically they've credited us $250, and they also took off the charges for dropping the service. So we're ahead $250 because of the error, and I think that they clearly state that the majority of it was on them, not us. We have since, I've met with Gail Freeman. I've met with the Cindy Pisani, this person on the phone only because she's not in the state, but we gave them all new contacts, all new emails, double people for everything. So, and working phone numbers, obviously, and working email addresses. So she, again, apologized that they don't really know where those things came from. The phone numbers came from them. We didn't make up the phone numbers.
Right.
And those are our account numbers, but they're not working numbers.
So the number that they were called is actually 315652, that they transpose numbers?
No, it truly was, it's our account number. Oh, no, that should be a 562.
Oh.
She messed that up.
Okay.
But that, your account number is a phone number. For us, it's a non-working number.
We just, that's our account number?
Yes, but that's the number they tried to call. But I said you couldn't have tried to call it, because if you had listened to the number, it would tell you very clearly. So that's why they did send this. They were very happy to do it, and like I said, gave us $250 credit.
Doesn't that, wouldn't you question if the bill was $25, if you put $2,800 or whatever it was?
Not to butt in, but my stepfather is Dale Freeman,
Yes.
and what happens is that comes out of Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's somebody in Madison calling that number, and it goes from one person to the other to the other. And by the time it funnels down to Dale, he felt very embarrassed about his mistake for you guys,
And
very
he did,
embarrassed.
he was wonderful when I called.
Yeah,
him.
and Dale felt
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
But that's what it is it came from Madison where they have all their call
Somebody
center.
must have had to do data entry.
Oh, yeah, no,
And it's like,
Somebody did.
didn't somebody go,
Well, I know.
Well, they have to read the manual first, you know.
Even
and
when
then-
they said they had spoken to Dale Freeman, and he had spoken to me, I said, oh, no, I don't even know who Dale Freeman is. I mean, until I found out, and then met with him, spoke to him on the phone several times.
Dale's wonderful, he's
But
amazing.
there was, initially some, things messed up on both sides, but in the end, the majority of it fell back on TDS, and they did obviously apologize.
Right.
But again, the billing error, we are now electronic billing, Angie knows each month to look for it. We are two separate accounts, that are billing different from the residential to commercial, so I think it's all been fixed.
Can I say, most of us here are TDS customers. I know that I can go online and pay my bill on the 30th, and they'll take the money out of my account, and it's not counted as late, but yet the balance will still roll over into the next month. So it still looks like you were late, even though you weren't. And there's no late charges, but that's just the way it works.
And that's the same thing when we went back 6 months to look at, which you have this in here. It's what it showed, often crossed in the mail, it was
Right.
paid, but they sent the bill out already. And we didn't get the credit till the next time. But, we did search back through, and back in February of
it.
Okay. So, we will be going into executive session where we will have to all leave, sorry.
If I could take just a minute before we do go to executive session, I would like to say how proud I am of our administrators. When you have the Superintendent Bosse's come in and tell us that our administrators have stepped up and this summer put the time in on the evaluation of teachers. And what it does for me is it just confirms what I know, and that we have the most caring and wonderful administrators, and to have the president or the superintendent Bosse's to also give us that information. I think it's great, and thank you all for your hard work.
Okay, can I have a motion to enter executive session, let's see, for medical, financial credit, or employment history of a particular person, corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation. And we have no CSE this time. So, oh, we do?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not marked on here, so I'm gonna add it. Oh, yeah, I see it. So, can I have a motion for that? Mandy?
Second.